When I was at PAX Unplugged, I got to stop by the Inkwell Ideas booth, and the folks there were kind enough to hand over to me this little deck of cards here, which they are calling Encounter Builder City Scenes. I thought I would take a look. As they say here on this little cover card, deal a few cards to create a dynamic encounter. We can see here the types of cards we're going to get. We're going to have people, events, locations. And we'll get to it. I've been messing around with these just a little bit to try to get a sense of how I want to best use them. I felt like a three card deal was coming up with some interesting things. Let's see if I can replicate the success I had earlier now. So let's just give these a quick shuffle. They're double-sided cards, so I think I would kind of come up with something where I'm flipping different sides together. So in this case, I've got 3 cards give me Scholar. Oops, let me center this better. So we get a Scholar, a Monument, and Aristocrat. And then, of course, now it's on us to determine what this is. Just off the top of my head, perhaps the party is in a square where there is an impressive looking monument, and they notice that the Scholar and this aristocrat of some sort are having some kind of argument. Of course, arguments are nice, things that have tension. Of course, the other thing we could do, the other possibility potentially would be that if we were playing in a game where we already had some NPCs of note, perhaps the aristocrat or the Scholar, one or both of them, we already had some established NPCs, I would insert them in their place. So if they had a Scholar that the party was already in contact with, I would probably use that named NPC instead. Same thing with the aristocrat. If I had both of them, I would. And of course, if I had both of them, I would use both of them. And then if context indicates that maybe they're huddling together conspiratorially, or they're arguing, or something else, maybe one is handing a package off to the other one, whatever one might be, that we could come up with some different context for this. But maybe off the top of my head, if they didn't know either of these parties, I might say, oh, maybe there's a conflict going on. Let's put those aside. Let's do another one. Let's see what we get. So let's see, give another little shuffle here. Whoops. First card is Teacher or Tutor. Second card is a Merchant Street. Third card is a Craftsman. Well, this, it's always weird when I always remark on how you do things randomly and you get these things that make sense. So we're on a Merchant Street, so of course it makes sense that a Craftsman here. Now, of course, the teacher could be looking to buy something, sell something. Maybe this craftsman is learning something from the teacher. Maybe the teacher is learning something from the craftsman. I always try to think in terms of tensions, conflicts. What is it about these individuals in this place that draws the party's attention? So I'm always looking for, well, what kind of conflict, or at least what kind of interesting situation could this be? Sure, they could just be saying hi to each other, but then why would the player characters even note that if this was just a friendly conversation? Of course, it could be something. Maybe there was a stabbing or some kind of violence, and the teacher was stabbed, and the craftsman was coming over, checking out, hovering over the fallen form of the teacher, calling out for help. The party could respond to that. Doesn't have to be them against the other. Let's say if there was a third party in here, we could even flip something else over. Now we have performance. This adds another wrinkle to the mix. We had this situation of the teacher or this tutor has been stabbed. Some kind of rogue or thief or other kind of assassin stabbed them. The craftsman spotted them. And the reason why all this stuff's happening and is mostly unknown by all the other passersby is because somebody's delivering a performance which has drawn away the attention. Was the performance staged to give an opening for somebody to stab the teacher? Was it somebody just using a pre-existing event to cover it up? They've been shadowing this teacher or tutor with intent to harm them and just happen to get lucky and that here is a performance so they can strike? Or what other connection might there be? So that's another one. Interesting. And now we'll do one more that hopefully will demonstrate, and I'll do more with these. I love these kinds of cards and decks, and I really like physical props. Let's just do one more here for the present. So we have a secret entrance, tavern games, and under arrest. All right. So what can we make out of these things? We have tavern games, and so it makes sense that tavern games it's inside a tavern. We've got this secret entrance here, and we have an arrest being made. I'm looking at something that maybe something illegal is happening. Maybe these tavern games are not above board. Maybe it's some kind of illegal activity. The constabulary or some other arm of the law comes in to stop these games, and perhaps they're rounding up a bunch of people, and in the scrum, somebody makes off for some kind of secret entrance, exposing it to the eagle eyes of the party, who is able to look and see, hey, wait a minute, there's some trap door, secret door, something that leads out of this tavern, presumably a seedy tavern, into something in which some of these criminals have made their escape. To where? To what ends? We don't know. Does the party follow them? Does the party report it to the authorities? Totally up to them, but it does make for an interesting encounter. So there you have it. 3 things off the top of my head, 3 draws, and we got some really interesting ideas out of it. I will probably do some more with this, but I thought I would just give this a quick look. Thanks again to Inkwell Ideas for sending this over to me. Awesome stuff as usual. It's called City Scenes, part of an encounter builder set. Hopefully they'll come up with scenes for other environments in the wilderness and maybe even in dungeons. I could see these coming handy, or anything else. I think there's a lot of options that they could have for building out different themes for these decks. Let me know what you think in the comments and elsewhere. Game on, and I will talk to you later.